It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast, your 20-minute boost to reclaim and refocus your energy. Get ready to have bursts of clarity, a boost of confidence, and the practical steps you need to make gutsy moves forward. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. Last week, I attended our local high school art show. I was completely blown away by the talent, but I also left crying. As I was walking around admiring the incredible talent, I felt really called to read the written descriptions that accompanied a lot of the pieces. As I'm taking in these deeply profound words and learning about the process and the exploration behind each piece, I'm realizing that there are three themes that I'm picking up on. The first is the pressure to have the future figured out. The second, the fear of safety in schools across America. And the third, hating their bodies. Reading these experiences through the lens of our youth absolutely ripped my heart out and threw it across the room. Each of these topics rightfully deserve their own time and conversation, but the one I want to talk about today is hating your body. How do we find peace within ourselves when the external world is telling us to be something different? Beauty and confidence, those are inside jobs, and we're going to start it today. Let's start by going back to where all this originated in the first place. So my son Camden has been creative since the day he came out of the womb. He's named after an artist, Vasily Kandinsky. He's into all different types of mediums, particularly right now into videography and editing. Some of his best friends and his girlfriend all also happen to be creative. And right now, the school is running the winter art show that features the 11th graders and 12th graders that have gone through most, if not all, of the art programs in the high school. With an art background of my own and my son and his best friends and girlfriend also involved in art, listen, I would fight somebody in the streets for these kids. I've known most of them, if not all of them, since they were in preschool and kindergarten. They've been an incredibly active part of our life. And my son and his friends, they're seniors this year. This is it. Don't get me started on that, because that emotional flood comes in a lot of different waves. But there's an art show, okay? My son invites me. He's like, hey, the opening reception is happening Friday night. If you want to come, that would be awesome. And I'm like, duh, of course I'm going to be there. I wrapped up work early, drove up to the art show, and entered into the space where the kids had just done a phenomenal job. I mean, there's this really great, kind of jazz type of house music happening in the background. They've got snacks set up. They've all set up their own areas and their own displays. And they've put so much time and effort into this. I just have so much appreciation for the arts and what goes into creating something, anything, not just a painting piece, not just a piece of pottery, but any kind of creation where you're turning nothing into something, I will always find fascinating. I'm a visual observer, so when I'm usually in an art museum or in a gallery, I like to take in the meaning of the work through the visual itself. Sometimes I read the descriptions, sometimes I don't. I just follow whatever I feel intuitively called to do. And for whatever reason, at this art show, I started to go through and just kind of visually look at things. And then I felt this really intense pull to read. I was like, I think maybe we need to go back. I need to go back to where I started. I want to know more about this particular piece. I didn't really feel called to read all of them because I'd probably still be there, but there were just a few pieces that kept catching my attention. And because I have learned to trust that intuition, I did that. I went back and I started to read the written descriptions, the exploration behind the piece, the process, how they came up with this, what this meant to each student. And I quickly realized, holy shit, we're on another level here. Okay, there's a purpose and there is a meaning behind understanding the minds of these kids. And as I moved through, not just visually absorbing the pieces of art, but also reading their written words and descriptions, I started to realize that there were a couple of themes. And like I said in the intro, there was this pressure to have the future figured out, so much of pushing and what are you going to do next? And what are you going to be when you grow up? And where are you going to live? And how many kids are you going to have? And there's just this intense pressure for the youth to have shit figured out. And I thought about how that also translates even into adulthood. Even when you check those boxes, right? Those expected things for you to do as you're stepping out of high school, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't fucking stop there. You do all the check boxes and then it's like, well, where are you going to get a job? And how many kids are you going to have? And when are you going to get married? And you do those things and it's like, well, when are you going to do that? Like that fucking goalpost is forever moving. But it was so apparent how and where this begins, this pressure, this societal expectation for you to have everything figured out. And then I realized that there was also this thread weaving through the art show around the fear of the safety of going to school. Now, if you've been a conscious human being, if you've been an active member of society for the last decade or so, you realize this is an actual problem. And the most fucked up part about all of that is it doesn't have to be. It is preventable. The fact that our youth are thinking about this, that they have to do drills, that they have to be concerned about it, that we have to amp up security to prevent shit from happening, I don't know what other information this country needs to wake up. I could go real hard down a rabbit hole tangent on that, but that's not the purpose of today's conversation. But I did want to acknowledge that these kids are having this conversation and it's coming out through their artwork. I'm so glad that art gives a lot of people, art in so many different forms and fashions and mediums, a way to express themselves, a way to process their emotions. But damn, they should not have to be processing this. The third topic that I realized was the most consistent, the one I saw the most, the one I read the most, the one that was most visually obvious, was around the subject of body image. While this definitely showed up across all different genders, the dominant gender that this showed up within were females. I know, shocker, right? I noticed sculptures of female bodies that were distorted, that were imperfect, that had colored glaze dripping down the side of them, that had chains wrapped around them, that had thorns in them. I noticed paintings and drawings with hands on faces and body parts moving and missing. I noticed dark colors, lack of vitality, sadness, desperation, worry. And in some of the things that I read things like confronted by social standards of beauty, the pressure to be perfect, the pressure to look perfect, and so much self-doubt that I don't even know what to do with it. This internal back and forth, this stretch of who I am and who everyone else is telling me to be. Some of the titles, the names of the work of art were Chained Vulnerability, Drowning in Tears, Perfectly Imperfect. There was this overwhelming sense in the verbatim words of pressure to appear flawless. You hear about self-doubt. You may experience it yourself. You may experience the body image challenges and the social standards and what everyone is telling us to do, but there's just something that hits differently about hearing 16, 17, and 18-year-old girls starting their life on this foundation. Look, it's no secret that there are so many external pressures when it comes to being a woman. How to show up, what you do, what you look like, how much you weigh, if you work, if you don't work, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're gay, if you're straight. And somehow, no matter what you choose, it's wrong. Or at least that's what the world is trying to tell you. That's what social media is trying to pressure you into. And then we wonder why we're always exhausted, why we are always unfulfilled, why we never feel like we're enough. It's because it's all this external pressure that's making you feel like you have to be something that you're not, or to be something different, or to up your standards, or that no matter what you choose, it's not the right thing because it's not what they would do. It's just a moving goalpost, isn't it? I mean, the standard is always growing and shifting, and just when you feel like you've got it, there's a new expectation slid across the table for you. It got me really thinking, like, how do we thrive in a world that's full of pressure and comments and rejection and just all this unnecessary shit about body image, about what you do in your life, about the choices that you make, about the way that you choose to love? And that's when I really started thinking, this is an inside job. Yes, there are external things that need to change. Some of it is starting to, but we've got a long way to go. This is one of the many, many, many reasons that representation matters. Why diversity in ads, in the products that we use, in commercials, in the information that we're consuming, why it matters. People want and need, and quite frankly, deserve to see themselves in the things that they're consuming. Different heights, weights, races, ethnicities, sexual orientation, style. I mean, all of it. It is all so beautiful if we just allow it to be what it is. Seeing disabilities represented in our media, talking about mental health, all of these things, and so many more that I've not even named, they matter. And why do they matter? Because they normalize humanity. It takes away the stereotype and the expectation that we should all look a certain way, that we should all be a certain weight, that we all have to live by one set of rules. We're starting to see this shift, but we've got a long ways to go. And so what do we do in the meantime? Well, first, we continue to advocate. Keep speaking up. Keep demanding more and better from the brands that you work with, from the companies that are out there. We have to demand more. The other big part of this, though, is that this starts from within. This is an inside job. Are you advocating for yourself? Are you speaking kindly to yourself? Are you practicing self-acceptance for yourself? Or have you joined the asshole committee of the keyboard warriors that love to say stupid things on the internet? Look, I get it. It's easy to believe that you're not good enough, that you're not the right weight, that this doesn't look good on you, that somebody else is better than you and other people are further ahead than you, and you have to be something else to be something in this world. It's easy to believe those things, and it's probably part of your normal inner dialogue because it's what you've been taught. My inner dialogue is not squeaky clean either, okay? We're in this together. But the real Powerback moment here, the real strength, the real shift begins when you realize I don't have to play by that narrative. Just because those thoughts were given to me does not mean I have to keep them. And I'm not saying that this is an easy shift. Building self-confidence, building self-belief is a practice. It's not a light switch. It's not a firework moment. It is a practice because we are undoing years, if not decades worth of all this external pressure, all these words, that one thing that one person said to you one time that has stuck with you your entire existence. It all begins with the choice to no longer accept that narrative. One of the students wrote something in their body of work that I wanted to share with you. And they said, beauty is not defined by symmetry or conformity, but by honesty, vulnerability, and lived experience. I'm going to read that again because I think it's so profound and such a baseline for where we move from here, how we navigate this world to believe in ourselves. Beauty is not defined by symmetry or conformity, but by honesty, vulnerability, and lived experience. When I break this down, they have completely removed beauty as an image. It's not defined by symmetry or conformity, meaning symmetry being this perfect being, this perfect balance of visual, of life, of the things that we invest our time and our efforts into. And it's certainly not defined by conformity, by going with what everyone else says, by believing the words and the expectations, the pressure that's around you. That's not where beauty comes from. It comes from honesty, honesty with yourself, honesty with the people around you, honesty with trusting what your message is from within. Beauty is vulnerability. This is being honest. This is sharing your story. This is opening up. This is saying enough of this. This is saying, I don't want to live like that anymore. And beauty is lived experience. The things that you've gone through, the tough moments, the great moments, your achievements, all of it matters. Jordan is saying that's beauty, friends, not these social standards that somebody set one time and we stuck with it. Why does this start from within? Because if you are living by the words and the expectations of others, you will never feel centered and grounded within yourself. Your confidence is always going to be on a teeter-totter. You're always going to be seeking external validation or approval from somebody else to tell you if you can or cannot do something. What you say to yourself matters, not just for self-esteem, not just for body image, but for living out a life that you want, for feeling happy and content and free and fulfilled in so many aspects of your life. I mean, think about this for a second. Why would you go for something? Why would you make a change? Why would you strive for the next chapter of your life if you keep telling yourself that you're not enough? Why would you go after the new job if you think that you're too fat? Why would you start the business if you think that you're too ugly? Why would you seek out a new romantic partner if you think that you're stupid? I mean, think about the words that you say to yourself. The words you say matter because you're not just thinking them, you're feeling them. And when you're feeling them, your mind is always scanning for proof to prove you right. That negative self-talk creates hesitation. Hesitation creates overthinking. It gets too big, it gets too complicated. I start talking myself out of it. Now I'm beating myself up again. And then guess what happens? Stagnancy. We stop moving. We sit with things. And then ultimately we end up settling. And in that place of settling, guess what is loud and proud? That negative self-talk. It's a loop, my friend. And listen to how early this loop is beginning. And the scary part is, it's not just the 16 to 18-year-olds having these conversations and doubting themselves and their bodies and their abilities. This is starting way earlier. This is happening in elementary school. This starts when they are toddlers. So chances are, this has probably been with you for a really long time too. And one of the greatest gifts that you can not only give yourself, but give the women, the girls, the females, the people around you, is to model the confidence, to show them that it's okay to be different. In fact, it's necessary to speak kindly about yourself and your abilities and your body, to show them that being unique is not wrong. It's a part of this incredible world that we live in together. The thing we sometimes forget as adults is that the people around us, whether it's other adults or youth or small children, they are listening. Our daughters, our nieces, our sisters are listening. And if the person that they look up to the most, the person that they absolutely adore the most, doesn't love themselves, well, maybe they shouldn't love themselves either. This bigger evolution, this bigger change begins in the singular moments of life. Like when you walk past a mirror, instead of immediately commenting on how terrible you look, you stop that thought process and acknowledge and celebrate yourself instead. When someone gives you a compliment, instead of immediately pushing it away and be like, oh, not this, oh, not that, oh, I only did this. Instead, receiving it. Something as simple as thank you tells your body that it's okay to feel good about yourself. To know that, okay, if my body is not yet where I would like it to be, I can still honor and celebrate it where it is today. I can be working on something and towards a goal while I also appreciate what I have. Look, when you are your own best advocate, the external shit doesn't penetrate as much. You're no longer in this wobbly, vulnerable state. You're saying, okay, I might not have this down perfect, which none of us do, but I believe in myself. I love myself. I appreciate my body for what it is in this moment, in this season. And if I can believe in me, your shit-ass comments mean nothing to me. And if they do, it's only for a moment. I don't absorb that energy. I don't make that more of a belief of my own. Instead, I just return it back to you. I have a moment. I say, okay, listen, I get comments on my videos all the time. Comments on my appearance and how pale my skin is and telling me that I'm fat and I should be drugged by a truck and like I'm worthless and why are you even doing this? And nobody's listening. And it's like, man, that's really easy to listen to. And honestly, 10 years ago, I definitely would have folded. I would have believed it because I had not yet built up my own version of confidence. I did not yet believe in myself in the way that I do today. I'm also a human, and sometimes that stuff stings. It doesn't feel nice to be called fat and ugly and worthless. But the difference is because I've changed the way that I talk to myself, the way that I believe in myself, the way that I keep showing up for myself, those comments don't rock me completely off center. I might have a moment. I might feel some kind of way about it. I might be pissed off for a second, but I'm not absorbing it as my own thought. This is why the way that you talk to yourself matters, because you're building up your own version of confidence so that when and if something does happen, if you see something, if you start comparing yourself to somebody else, if somebody says something stupid on the internet, because people do that because they're miserable, you become a deflector. You're not receiving it. You're not making it mean anything about yourself. Instead, you're saying, no thanks. That actually seems silly. Oh my gosh, what's going on in your world to make you feel so bitter about life and to feel okay commenting on someone else's life or their body? You become like the older sister for your younger self. You're protecting her. You're showing up for her. You're showing her that you are by her side. And this is a practice. And the way we practice is with tools, is with resources, is with implementing something that works. And one of the things that you can start with is to catch your words and shift them. Catch when you start to go to put yourself down. Catch when you're saying something negative about your body as you pass by a mirror. Catch when that inner mean girl wants to come out and put you down. And instead of feeding it, instead of ruminating with it and letting it grow and fester into this big ass thing that's actually nothing, instead, be on your side. Stop it as if it's a bully from the internet. I'm a big fan of saying words out loud, not just in my head, because it moves the energy. I will literally say to myself, Laura, no, try again. Let's do this again. What's actually true? What do I want to say about myself? And if you're having a hard time believing something, if you're having trouble coming up with something good about yourself, go to a past moment. I'm a great person. I'm helpful to people. I'm kind. I'm loving. I show up for people. We could very quickly and very easily list a whole page worth of incredible characteristics about you. And if that's where you need to start, then start there. Start by writing down the characteristics about who you are as a person, how you show up in this world, the impact that you have, the natural charisma that you have, your creativity, right? Like there's just so many incredible things about you. Let's start feeding that. Because as you are feeding those words, the positivity, the truth about yourself, guess what your mind and body are going to start to scan for as well? Proof that you are those things. And eventually, switching the self-talk will take less work. Yes, there will be moments, but it won't require as much push or as much effort in the long run. Instead, it's going to become your new normal. So that eventually that external stuff deflects back off. You're not going to allow it to penetrate you. It's not going to rock you off your center for as long. And the people around you will notice. The girls that hear you are listening. I wish I could go back to that art show and gather all of those girls up and take them to a rage room and let them beat the shit out of some stuff and then give them the biggest, most grandest big sister hug in the entire planet, because I just want them to know that they matter. And the more that we have these conversations, the more that we change our dialogue about ourselves, we change the dialogue that's happening in the world. The less that we tolerate the mean girl shit on the inside means the less that we will tolerate it on the outside. That means advocacy gets louder. That means there are more of us that are demanding diversity and inclusion in the things that we see and consume. This is how external change happens. And yeah, we might have a long way to go, but you and I, we can play a really valuable part in making that happen. And it all starts from within. I'm going to close us out with a final piece from that art show that made me smile, that showed me that this is already working to some extent, that this message is rippling into the youth. This final piece of artwork is called Peace. Peace as in stillness, as in happiness, as in calmness. The description around this was, be my authentic self. It was about a spring time frame when things were coming back alive, when things were moving differently, when their color started to return to the world. It represented new beginnings and growth. She talked about accepting herself as she is in this moment, in this life, and how her most authentic self really is the way. That is the peace. And honestly, the part that made my mama heart just close out the night with such joy and happiness is when she said that I can truly be myself around my boyfriend. He doesn't make me feel like I have to put up a front. That boyfriend happens to be my son. And it proved to me in that moment how important conversations are, not just with our girls, but with our boys. How modeling a behavior, sometimes without even saying words, have a ripple effect. He has seen love and acceptance modeled in his world, and he is reflecting that now in the world that he's creating. It's never too late to start modeling it. It's never too late to start having those conversations. The most powerful, vibrant energy that you can ever put out into this world is your full, authentic self. Thanks for going on this little energy-filled journey with me here today. If you can't tell, I'm quite passionate about this subject, but it's so important. And it's really the basis of what we are doing and working on and building inside the Gutsy Collective. So if you are in a space where you're like, I don't have anybody in this world that models this, I don't have anybody to talk to or guide me or push me in a healthy way, but I'm ready to make changes in my life. I'm ready to get clear on what it is that I want. I want to build my confidence. I'm ready to start using my voice again. I want to gear up for whatever this next season has prepared for me. I just don't know what to do or how to do it. The Gutsy Collective is going to be the next step that you didn't know that you needed, but you're glad that you have. I've opened the space up so that you have a 30-day free trial. I want you to come in and actually feel the energy. I want you to be able to participate in our live Sunday call where I do hot seat coaching, where you get actual guidance from me. I want you to experience the support and the accountability in our co-working session that we have once a month. I want you to experience what it's like to be held, to be fueled, to be poured into. So if you go to LauraAura.com, at the top of the page, click on the Gutsy Collective and start your free 30-day trial. If you want to chat about the Gutsy Collective, you have questions about it, or you just want to talk about today's episode, come find me and send me a DM on social. My handle is @thatLauraAura. And as always, until I see you next time, stay Gutsy.